Welcome to the next part of the Lab 5 tutorial. So in this part, we will be implementing the pipeline design, and specifically we will be implementing a pipeline 8-bit adder, one without pipeline, and rather I should say one stage pipeline, and the other with the pipelining, and observe the effect on the maximum operating frequency and latency of the design. So before going further in this video, I will recommend that you go through the pipeline basic video posted on the YouTube. Right? So before going into details of how to implement this design, let me go through the very basics of the pipelining. So this diagram is taken from the video on pipeline basics. So what this diagram is telling me, so in earlier lab, in lab 2, let's say, we have implemented a combination, two combinational circuits. One was 3-bit adder and then 3-bit multiplier. So both of them we have implemented, and they were all the asynchronous designs. So what is an asynchronous design? That your output does not depend on some synchronizing signal. As soon as your inputs to the gate changes, you get your output. But the design, which you can see here, is a synchronous design. Right? So what is a synchronous design? So in the synchronous design, as you can see, this is the primary input port of your combinational design, and this is the primary output port of the combinational design. So I have added the flip-flops, two flip-flops, at the one at the input port and one at the output port. So why do I need this? Like a very good question arises here. Why do I need this when my combinational circuit was working fine and it was quite fast? As soon as the inputs to the combinational circuits were changing, I am getting immediately the output of the circuit. Then why do I need these two flip-flops when what they are doing, they are inserting one clock cycle delay? Because I will be getting my correct output after one clock cycle delay. So why do I need this? So at this point, I will recommend you to stop this video for a while and ponder on this. Like, why do I need a synchronous design when my asynchronous design was very fast, right? Okay. So the answer to this question is synchronous designs are deterministic, right? So synchronous designs are deterministic. What does it mean? That at this clock cycle, if some data is going here, then at the next clock cycle, I will ensure, somehow I will ensure, and I have to ensure that the data arrives here after the computation, right? So I will have to adjust my clock period according to this thing. I will have to adjust the delay of the combinational part according to this thing, right? So that is the advantage of the synchronous design, that they are deterministic. And we need to ensure that they are deterministic, and we need to ensure that the synchronicity of the design is maintained. So now let's see what actually happens in these kind of design. So what will happen? So now let's say my clock, so let's call this flip-flop as the launching flip-flop, and this flip-flop as the capturing flip-flop, right? So when the positive edge of my clock arrives here, whatever data here will get transmitted to the Q port after a clock to output delay, that is clock to Q delay, right? And this is the data path, and I'm also calling it as the combinational circuit design, which we have done. Let's say it is the 3-bit adder which we have designed in lab 2, right? And then this is the next flip-flop. So at the output port of my design of 3 adder, the sum will get here, right? So now at the next edge of the clock, so next edge of the clock will occur, and I have to ensure that this data after computation should reach and must be set up at the data port of the design, this flip-flop, so that it can be captured at the next edge of the flip-flop, right? So this whole process is going in between, right? So now let me explain this thing again with a very good example. Now let's see this. In the left hand side, this is the launching flip-flop. In the right hand side, it is the capturing flip-flop. So let's assume the clock period as the 10 nanosecond. Now let's say at t equals to t1, I have data equals to a at the launching flip-flop, and at the capturing flip-flop, I had data equals to b, right? And one more thing before we go. So what's happening is again, let me revisit this again and let me briefly sum it up. The clock edge arrives here. There is first some clock to output delay. Second is this logic and routing delay. This is the delay of the data path. And then I need to set up my data here. So the flip-flop setup type is there. And the clock skew is also considered. So what is clock skew? That the clock arriving here will not arrive at here at the same time. So there will be some delay, right? So let me go here. So when the positive edge of the clock arrives, so what will happen? This data A will be transmitted to the Q pin of the launching flip-flop, and similarly this data, that is data B, is transmitted to the Q pin of the capturing flip-flop, obviously after certain delay. Now after 10 nanosecond, what I should be confirming, like it's my job to ensure, it's the job of the design engineer to ensure that this data A should be there at the data pin of the next flip-flop, and it must have a setup over it. So the setup time constraints are met, right? And similarly, so the next data will come here, this W will come here when the next clock edge will arrive. So this is the very first requirement of my design that needs when I'm talking about a synchronous design. Now the second thing is, and which is usually hidden from our eyes, and let's see what is this. So one more scenario that can happen here. Let's say I have given this data A was there as we saw. So data A was there, and then data B was there at the capturing flip-flop, right? Now let's say the clock edge arrives. So the first clock edge arrives. So this data B, ideally this data B should come here, right? And this data A should come here after the next clock cycle. So at the Q point, at the very whenever the clock edge arrives, first of all the data B should come out, and after let me confirm it once again. Yeah, so that's fine. So when the first clock edge arrives, first of all the data B should come out from the capturing flip-flop, and after that, at the next clock edge, that is after 10 nanosecond, which we have assumed, the data B should come out from the queue. But there is one scenario that can happen. Now let's say this in the clock network, the skew was pretty high, right? So the first edge of the clock which occurred here is triggered this flip-flop, and my data A comes here, that queue. And let's say this delay was very less. It was very less. And there was this data B which was ready to get transferred to the queue. But due to this large clock skew, the clock edge never arrived here. But my data B was overwritten by this data A because this delay was very low. So when this clock edge will arrive, I will get output as A. So my B is gone. That means synchronicity is broken, right? Which we do not want, right? So there are two different things. So the first thing is that you have to ensure that after one clock cycle, my new data after processing should be here, right? And one thing also that you need to ensure is that the previous data should not be overwritten by the new data, so that this must not be captured at the same clock edge. So these are the two basic requirements of a synchronous design, and this is the duty of a design engineer, so ensure the synchronicity, right? Okay, so that was all about the basic of this synchronous design. Now let's first make the design one and look how all these timing constraints are, and what are these things, the slack and everything are, right? So first what we will do is we will be implementing an 8-bit adder using the full adder which we made in lab 2, and then we will be adding the flip-flops and the input and output ports of the design, right? So let's see how can we do that. So let's add the full adder file which we designed in lab 2. Okay, so next let's make a top module in which we will instantiate the full header. Okay, so these are all 8-bit inputs. Output, there is only one output port, that is just sound, and that can be 9-bit long. Alright, so the first design that we need to make should look like this. Okay. So what's happening is we are inserting flip-flops at the input ports as well as the output ports. So this is the primary input port, like carry in, and this is carry out of the design. So initially what we will do is we will not insert any flip-flops in the in the critical path. So if I talk about the critical path of this design, it is quite intuitive that it will start somewhere from either A0 or B0. It will travel all the way down to here, and finally this C7. My C7 will come at last. So this is the critical path of the design. So in the design one, I am just implementing a one-stage pipeline. That is, I am just adding flip-flops at the primary input and output ports of the design, and I'm not adding any flip-flop in between the design. So this critical path is quite long in this design. As you can see, from A0 to C7, there are like 8 full adders. So that's a very big critical path. So obviously the delay of this path will be very long, right? So we will see what is the impact of this long critical path. So this C7 will be assigned to S8 because my sum will be 9-bit long. So the output carry of the last full header will also be assigned to the sum. Alright. So the very first thing is that I need to insert my flip-flops at the input as well as the output. So how to do that? It's a very simple thing. Let me define 2 registers of 8-bit each. Say this Q_A and Q_B. Okay. Similarly, it means this is for the sum. So what I can do here, okay, so after instantiating the full header module 8 times, so my code look like this. So I just made the connection like this diagram. So after doing this, what we can do is we can see how my design looks like. So does it look like something like this or not? So to do that, you can go to this Open Elaborator design, click on OK. Alright, so now let's look at this design. So as you can see, so my A port was of 8 bits, and I can see here there are 8 flip-flops, and similarly for B port I have 8 flip-flops, and then there are 8 instantiations of this full adder, as you can see. So if I look at here, so A is going to here and to every A of these flip-flops, and finally at the output of the flip-flops, what I can see is there are 9 flip-flops for the outputs as well. So my design is looking pretty much like this, right? So this was a single port design, so there are multiple ports, so there should be multiple flip-flops at the input and multiple flip-flops should be there at the output as well, right? So one more thing which we can see from this diagram is the critical path. So critical path is that path with the maximum delay, right? So if I look at here, if I look at this path, let's say start from here, FA0 to carries from for this carry and this carry. So starting from either one of it, either from the A, any pin of A and any pin of, or any pin of B, and going to the last carry till the last carry, right? So this will be my critical path because it will having the maximum delay, the delay of 8 full adders, right? So this will be my critical path. Now let's do the timing analysis of this, right? This design. So my design looks very good, like whatever we wanted to implement. What we wanted to implement is a single stage pipeline, which we have done, and this looks good. Now let's move on to the next part, how to check the timing of this circuit. Okay, let's see. All right. So the next thing is, before doing the synthesis, I have to add the constraints. So my constraint file this time will only be having the clock constraints. That's the clock period for time being, right? Right, so I will write 8_clock. Then I can define a period which I want. Let's say for timing I need 2.5 nanoseconds, right? Alright, so the synthesis is now successfully completed. So click on view reports and click on OK. Next, what you can do is you can click on this arrow, open synthesize design, and go to report timing summary. Okay, so this pop-up will occur. You can click on OK. So as you can see, there is a command written over here, report_timing_summary. So from the TCL window as well, you can directly run this command, or from the GUI, and from here you can click on this. So clicking on this and clicking OK, everything can be reduced. And what we can do is you can directly put this command in the TCL window. This TCL console you see there. Okay, so yeah, I have created the clock. Alright, so we have made a mistake here. Instead of get clocks, to use get ports clock, and you can save it. So just close the synthesize design and rerun the synthesis. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. Okay. So now this is the design timing summary. So there is a term which you can see here is this worst negative slack. Similarly, for this is for setup, and this is the worst hold slack for this hold. right? So what does it mean? Let me tell you in this regard. So ideally what should happen, the processed data should arrive at the D pin of the captured flip-flop at the next touch of the clock. That is, I have a duration of the time period of the clock plus some skew, let's say, right? So what's happening is, so what does it mean by slack? So slack is some margin, like let's say, so two different things first I need to tell you here. So one thing is the arrival time and the second is the required time. So required time is the time which is ideally the clock period plus this skew, right? So if clock skew is there, so this is the required time at which we want our data at the D pin of the capturing flip flop, and arrival time is this clock to queue delay plus this propagation delay plus the setup time. So this is the arrival time. So ideally what should happen is my required time, right, must be greater than the arrival time, so that I can get some margin. That is that margin. If I subtract the arrival time from the required time, that simply means if I have some positive quantity, that means I am very good to go. My design is working fine, synchronicity is made. But let's say my required time is less than the arrival time. My arrival is taking so much time than the required time. That simply means my synchronicity will be disturbed. So this data which is getting coming here after the processing will not be captured at the next edge of the clock, and the synchronicity is destroyed, right? So in that case, I will be getting a negative slack, right? So I don't want that. So in our current design, when I have given a clock period of 2.5 nanosecond, I'm getting a negative slack of minus 0.579. So this was negative slack. This is the slack of the critical path. This is the largest negative slack which I am getting right now, right? So that simply means my synchronicity is disturbed. So 2.5 nanosecond clock period is not sufficient for this design to work. That simply means that I need to increase my clock period at least by this much amount of time. That is 0.579 nanosecond, right? Also, what we can do is we can see which path is the critical path. In order to see that, just click on this and you can see the paths, right? So this path is starting from Q underscore A underscore reg. So and C means the clock pin of the flip flop. So my first flip flop, that the flip flops that I applied at the A ports, so that the pin 0 of that flip flop, so the 0th flip flop from the clock pin of that flip flop to the D pin of the last, like the capturing flip flops, which is applied after the at the output port, right? So this is the fifth pin. So in this thing you can see there is some logic delay, there is some net delay, right? So all these delays are in here, and after adding all these things, so if I add all these things, logic delay and net delay, I'm getting 2.928, right? This is my arrival time. If I talk in terms of arrival times and required time, so this is my arrival time, and my required time is 2.5 nanosecond. So if I subtract my arrival time from the required time, I will be getting this quantity, which is negative. So this is not good for my design, and this design won't work at all. So the synchronicity is disturbed. So there are two methods to do that. The first is to increase the clock period, right? Because if I give an ample clock period to this design, this will work fine, right? And the second thing is to somehow reduce the critical path delay. So first, now as we are not in this design, we are not doing any pipe, we are not inserting any cut sets. So what I will do is I will just change the constraints on the timing period of the clock, and we'll see the difference, right? Let's clock the synthesis design first. Now let's say I make this clock period as 3.2 nanoseconds, right? Save it, and once you save it, you can get this message that synthesis is out of date. So whenever you make any changes in any of the files, so the synthesis will show me as out of date. So you can again run the synthesis. let's wait for a couple of minutes. So now you can see that my worst negative slack is no more negative. It's a positive slack. That means I have some extra margin when I am giving a clock of 3.2 nanosecond. I have a margin of 0.127 nanosecond after giving a clock of 3.2 nanosecond clock period, right? So now if I look at the critical path, so again the path remains the same and the delays obviously remain the same. And now if I subtract this thing from the clock period, that is 3.2, I will be getting a positive slack. That means this design is working fine, and in fact I have some margin to reduce the clock period further. So 0.127 nanosecond is the margin, but right now because I have not actually routed it on the flip-flop, so this is a general practice that we always keep some margin, some positive slack we always keep, because after the actual routing is done on the on the FPGA, these routing net delays which you are seeing here. So after the implementation, the actually routing happen, but the net delay which you are seeing here is the estimated net delay. These are not the actual net delays. So once the routing is happen, which is after the implementation, you will get some actual delays which will definitely be greater than these delays, and you will see this margin will get reduced. So we will always keep some margin, which will always start with some positive slack, and after the actual implementation and once the implement routing and placing and routing is done, so even after that I should get some positive slack, so that my design even after routing is working fine. So from the design work, the first takeaway is, what is this slack? If it is negative, it's not good for design. If it is positive, it is fine for me, that the design is working fine, the synchronicity is maintained, right? So that was all about design 1. Now let's move on to the design 2 and add some pipelining in the critical path, or we can see some cut sets in the critical path, and then we will look at how this clock period will change, right? One more thing that we can do with this design is to check the simulation waveform of the design and see after how many clock cycle I'm getting the output. So ideally I should get the output after 1 clock cycle. Now let's also confirm this by the test bench. So I can use the test bench which I used in lab 2 after making a few changes. Okay, so this should be top underscore pipeline. A and B are of 8 bits, and sum is of 9 bits. That's fine. And here, let's see, 8 0. Let's change the data and deposit it into the cloud. So I have changed. Right, so this is 8 bit 3. 6. So one more thing to add is the clock signal. Okay, so let's run the simulation. Okay, so one thing that we forgot is to initialize the clock. Okay, so as you can see here, I am getting the output after one positive edge of the clock, and which was also intuitive because as I have inserted two flip-flops, one at the input port and one at the output port. So at the first positive edge of the clock at the input port, I got this data 4 and 5. So at the next positive edge of the clock, I must be getting this data. So this 9 I'm getting. So after one clock cycle, I'm getting my output. So that's why that was expected of the design which we just did. Now let's add the pipelining that got set in our current design and look at the effect on the clock frequency. So yeah. So for design 2, what we will do is we will also add flip-flops at the carry input of each full adder, right? So this is my design 2. Yeah, as you can look here, so at every input carry of the full adder, I will be adding one flip-flop. So in that way, I will be inserting flip-flops in the critical path. So now if I do the timing, so there will always be one full adder between two registers or flip-flops. So my critical path delay will eventually reduce. So in that case, my clock period will also reduce and hence the frequency must increase. So now let's see by doing it if it is happening or not. Right. So in this design, I can make some changes in this design. What I can do is I have to insert flip-flops at the input carry of each and every full adder. So for that, let me take a register, say correct C, right, and in this always clock, let me add this, right. Now the first thing is fine because the first carry is 1 degree 0, but the second carry should come from the output of the flip-flop. So instead of using the C1, I will be using the red C1, red C0, right. Similarly for all the cases. C1, C2, red C5 and red C6. That's fine. So next I will save this design. And let's set the clock period to 2.5 nanosecond. At 2.5 nanosecond, our design 1 was failing. The timing requirements were not getting met. Now let's look if the timing requirements are met after pipelining, because ideally it should meet. Because we have inserted flip-flops in the critical path, that means the critical path delay should come down, and this should eventually reduce the clock period. So my current design must work at this clock period right now. So now let's see. So after saving, and let me recheck the design again. So this is fine, and you can run the synthesis again. Okay, so now at the 2.5 nanosecond clock period, I am getting a positive slack of 0.846 nanosecond. So it simply means while the earlier design was not working at 2.5 nanosecond, after inserting the pipeline, my design is working fine at 2.5 nanosecond clock period. That simply means I can operate my design at much higher frequency as compared to design 1, in which pipelining was not there. So let's look at the path, critical path here. So my critical path got changed from this red C register 0. So this is the carry registers. So this is register 0 to register 1, right? So if I talk about in terms of this diagram, so this register 0 will come somewhere here and register 1 will come somewhere here. So this full adder will lie in this path. So the logical delay will be the delay of this full adder. And one more thing that we can see in the elaborated design, how this design looks like now. Okay, so you can see the carry is passed through the registers, and after passing this carry, like once the carry will be passed to this register, and after this register output will be passed to the next carry. So that's what we wanted to insert the register or the flip-flop at the input of each carry input of the full adder, right? So that was about the timing. Now look at the functionality. What change in the functionality? Are we still getting the output at the 1 clock period, or the latency have increased, right? So now let's look at there. In order to do that, let's run the simulation. Okay, so as you can see here, all right, so as you can see here, the output is coming incorrect. So now let's see what is the reason behind this. So if we go back to this diagram, so after 1 clock cycle, some values of A and B will be latched to the full adder, and then it will give the sum. But at the next clock cycle, so after the first clock cycle, the carry values will not, the calculated carry will not be propagated through the flip-flop. So we will have to wait for the next clock cycle. So at the next clock cycle, what will happen is the new carry values will get to the full adders, and the full adder will compute the result at the next clock cycle. So 2 clock cycles are needed in this kind of the pipelining design, but in our current test bench, what we are doing it at the next clock cycle, we are changing the value of the A and B. So due to this, my answer is coming out to be incorrect. So according to the current design, my input should remain stable, or I should say the input should remain as it is for the 2 clock cycles. So let me explain you again what's actually happening. So at the very first clock cycle, A and B will be latched to these flip-flop, and then full adder will do the computation, and it will pass the result to sum. Although the results are not there at the sum yet, right? And also the correct carry is not there at the input of every full adder, because the correct carry is just generated. So at the next clock cycle, these carry will be propagated, right? So the correct carries are now there. So the data should remain the same for the next clock cycle as well. So at the next clock cycle, what will happen is, so my current output of the sum will come, and at the next clock cycle, it will be latched to these sum bits. So we need to make some changes in our test bench according to our design, and then we'll see the output, right? Let's see. So I will keep this input same for the 2 clock cycle. this should be 5, should be 4, that's fine. Now after saving it, let's rerun the simulation. Okay, so now you can see here that my output is coming after a delay of 2 clock cycles. So 1 clock cycle latency have increased in the output when I use this kind of a pipeline design in which I have added a flip-flop at the carry input of each and every full adder, right? So what we observed after pipelining is that although my pipelining is increasing the frequency of the clock, because now my critical part delay is reduced, as I can take my clock period a value which is lower than the previous value that for the design which was without pipelining. So the frequency is significantly improved, but at the same time my latency is increased, right? So there is always a trade-off between this latency and frequency, right? So that's all for this pipelining design. So we have made 2 designs in this part. So in the first part we have made a design in which we have the registers or the flip-flops at the input and output ports, and we observed that the 2.5 nanosecond clock period was not sufficient and the slack was coming out to be negative. And then we inserted the pipeline stages, and after inserting the pipeline we saw that the same 2.5 nanosecond clock period is now sufficient to maintain the synchronicity of the design, but at the same time the latency is increased by 1 clock period. So there is a trade-off between the latency and the maximum operable frequency of the design. So now what you can do is you can check this thing for different types of adders or maybe multipliers as well. So for 3-bit adder, for 6-bit adder, you can check, because as the length of the data path is reducing, so the delay will definitely be reduced, and you can see if this design is not this 2.5 nanosecond clock period was not working for this design for the single stage pipeline design. It may work for a 6-bit adder or maybe a 4-bit adder. So that experiment you can do with this thing. So after synthesis you can check the timing reports. So that's all for the part 2 of this lab. Thank you very much.